Joshua catches a glimpse of the fourth prince. Duke von Agnes shows up and asks Joshua to apologize for acting. Skills are very impressive. Joshua is appreciated for his skills and is appointed as a C-rank knight, the strongest knights. He's amazed by the extraordinary and incredible qualities of Joshua. Elements in magic. The ancient magicians called them primordial stones. Only 5 primordial stones have shown themselves to the world. It is a godly object that the magicians and knights desire. Joshua is in search of the primordial stone in the middle of the forest, since that is the only thing that can keep his power from going berserk. Just as he goes further, a black ogre shows up. He plans on attacking it from behind by striking his neck. As he does so, the ogre seems too hard for him to defeat, which is why he must hide himself. He finds a place to hide, and after hiding, he uses the technique of the Assassin King, which manipulates the mana, enveloping his entire body in it. He makes one forget about the surroundings. The ogre passes by him without feeling his presence. Joshua runs further into the middle of the forest in search of the primordial stone, but falls to the ground again and is attacked by multiple ogres. He uses one of his techniques to get rid of them. Joshua tries to get rid of them all, but he realizes that the child's body has its limit, and he hasn't yet reached the level of the second phase of magic spear arts. He realizes he needs to find the primordial stone and join his group before anyone finds out. Just as they are setting up the camps, the ogres attack them in huge numbers. The knights set out to fight and kill a few of them, but when they realized that the ogres were too many, the C-rank knight planned to retreat, but Chiffin ordered that no one should abandon the camps. They start a battle, fighting all the monstrous creatures. They strike at them with great strength, killing most of them, but they soon realize that there's no end to them as more and more start to attack them. Chiffin, considering himself a powerful B-rank knight, gets attacked and falls to the ground, asking everyone to retreat. The Duke immediately comes out of the camp and uses his extraordinary skills to finish all the creatures in one go. He manages to kill them all, surprising almost everyone with the strength and power he possesses. As one of the 9 stars, Joshua manages to get rid of almost all the ogres, and as he goes further, he sees an immensely hollow hole in the ground, and as he stands at the side of the cliff, he says, "Bronto." While everyone is discussing the Duke's extraordinary qualities, the knights realize that Joshua is missing and has probably abandoned them in fear of fighting the ogres. They start questioning his abilities because they believe he got intimidated by the black ogres and left already. The Duke shouts, saying the fight isn't over yet and that they should stay focused. While they are fighting, Joshua appears and strikes at 2 of the black ogres, killing them. Joshua is able to use a portion of Bronto's power, but he's unaware of how long his body would hold out with this technique. Everyone lauds him for it and is surprised at his C-rank skills. More black ogres attack him, and he asks the knights to back off as he will fight them all alone. As he does so, the knights seem surprised by his qualities. The Duke is somewhat aware that Joshua is barely holding on to his conscience because he doesn't want to show any weakness. The knight says that Joshua is capable of being the third-class master as he possesses qualities of a qualified magician that are only found in a few people. Just as the ogre attacks, Joshua reaches his limit and falls to the ground. The Duke manages to protect and save Joshua from the attacks. Joshua finds himself in the dukedom, which has caught fire, and the building seems to collapse. He finds Babel fighting to protect the dukedom, threatening anybody who tries to destroy it. He feels a force of wind coming towards him, and as he sees clearly, it is Annabella Grace. He then starts to connect the dots, as he earlier felt that he knew Anna. There is a connection or an earlier event that has clearly happened related to Anna that Joshua tries to remember but can't. He sees himself 10 years prior to the events and sees the dukedom being wiped out and destroyed. As he opens his eyes and shouts Draxia Bel Grace, he realizes he was dreaming all this time and says that prophetic dreams are all because of Bronto. He ponders over how to bring out the power of magic spear arts against monsters, and he probably needs to be somewhere around a starting B-rank knight. The prophetic dream is another power that Bronto holds. He is still intrigued to find out more about the primordial stone. As Joshua moves out of bed, he realizes the Duke is sitting right next to him as he looks at the moon and expresses how it has changed color in such a short time. The Duke explains to Joshua how he'll now be changing his identity, and Joshua agrees, as his main priority now is to get back his previous life's strength. The Duke was intrigued by Joshua's mentioning the cursed name of Draxia Bel Grace. The Duke wonders how Joshua knows the cursed name of Draxia Bel Grace. He told Joshua to go to sleep, as they'd return to the estate first thing in the morning. In the secret room in Lock Castle, Chiffin and Beeg are discussing how Joshua is a threat to Babel's position and that if Vanessa doesn't do anything about it, the adversities may increase. Chiffin says that Joshua was just a child who ran errands in the stables. No one could have guessed that he had such an amazing talent hidden away. Beeg can't wrap his head around the fact that Joshua possesses the qualities of a C-rank knight, and he assumes Joshua has made a contract with the high-ranking demon. Chiffin goes on to say that the Imperial Knight Order and the Duke carefully watched Joshua. before giving him the title, so there's no way that anything he has is demonic. Biggs says he'll keep an eye on Joshua in case he's involved in anything vile. Anna, Biggs' daughter, will also be going to the Imperial Academy, so it will be easy to get information from her. Cox tells Cyril at the Agnes estate that Joshua is coming back after the subjugation is done. In the Forest of Dark Beings, there will be a big feast. Cyril seems unhappy, and she asks Cox why he's excited for Joshua to come when he initially hated him. Cox seems to be convinced of Joshua's skills and abilities. Cyril is aware that the Duke of Pontius has sent her to connect with Babel because of a mercenary king. The mercenary king is mostly one of the 12 superhumans who can compete for the absolute seat of 9 stars. He secretly joined forces with Marquis Cromwell, who comes after Duke Pontier in wealth. Things have gotten acute between the two families, Cromwell's and Pontier, as a territorial war may break out between the two. The Duke has decided to get Babel married to his daughter so he can get Duke Agnes aid in the upcoming battle. Cox believes Cyril is being sacrificed, but the Pontier has no other way to avoid this emergency. Cox asks Cyril to have a conversation with Lord Joshua at least once, and Cyril, amused by the idea, asks Cox to arrange a meal between her and Joshua before he departs. The grand feast at Agnes' State begins, and the voices in the air are praising Joshua and his incredible skills. Everyone is impressed by the 10-year-old's achievement of killing the black ogres. Joshua enters with his subordinate knight and says he's too exhausted to attend. The man informs him that his mother Lucia will also be attending Vanessa's feast. Attending. Joshua is somewhat surprised but curious about why Vanessa would be so kind as to arrange him a feast. Joshua goes to the place where Vanessa has set up a feast for him and his mother. Vanessa welcomes Joshua and informs him that this is their first meeting. Chiffon asks Joshua aggressively to pay respect to the Duchess, but Joshua, being stubborn, doesn't. Upon his mother's request, he greets Vanessa. Vanessa thinks to herself how she will no longer be seeing him anymore, and this is clearly the first and last time they've met. Joshua's mom, Lucia, doesn't seem to know that he has become a knight and is going to the academy. As she finds out through Chiffon, she seems more than happy and proud of her son. Vanessa says she prepared the dinner as a means of congratulating him on becoming a knight. She apologizes to Lucia for overlooking her all this time and ill-treating her. Vanessa seems to have put up a facade and pretends to be generous to Joshua and Lucia. She asks for dinner to be served. She tells them to be comfortable and also that the dinner has been arranged with intention of growing closer to both of them from the core of her heart. Lucia is about to eat, but Joshua stops her and says he needs to first introduce himself. He does so and then asks the men to serve dinner to Vanessa first since she's been too kind to them. Joshua is suspicious that the food being served might contain poison. He asks Vanessa to start, and she responds by saying she has put on too much weight and is picky when it comes to food. Chiffon shouts, saying it's disrespectful for him to be accusing the Duchess of mixing poison in their food. Chiffon pulls out his sword, which triggers Joshua, and he pulls his spear out in return. Joshua is very angry because he knows the food is poisonous, and Chiffon threatens to kill him for being rude to Vanessa. While Joshua and Chiffon are engaged in a fight, the Duke shows up. He stops them and asks them why they've been acting so aggressively. The Duke asks both Joshua and Lucia to go rest since they'll be leaving the next morning. As they leave, the Duke questions Vanessa about her sudden generosity. The Duke is well aware of Vanessa's intentions and that she is envious of why Joshua gets all the attention. Vanessa is full of rage as she expresses how she didn't marry the Duke because she loved him, but mainly because it was an arranged marriage. She does not want her son to be victimized, and she requests that the Duke exercise basic courtesy. The Duke warns her and tells her that he's been aware of all that she's up to. Meanwhile, Joshua updates his mother on everything that has happened. Cain shows us and makes us glad that Joshua is going to the castle. He'll get to learn a lot. Cain asks Joshua for a favor, allowing him to serve as Joshua's liege. Joshua tells Cain that the path he has chosen is bloody and full of criticism. Cain, without thinking twice, accepts that he's all set to fight for and with Joshua from now on. The next morning they plan to leave, and as they do so, Cheryl shows up. She says she wants to greet them before they depart. The Duke asks if she wants to join them in the Accardi. She refuses and explains that she has promised to visit Cox's family. She then approaches Joshua and gives him something, saying it is the symbol of our family, and requests that he visit her family in Accardi. Cox is enraged at Cheryl for giving the symbol, as it is of great importance and can't just be given to anyone. Caesar has gotten a letter from Joshua about the offer for him to join the Imperial Palace. When he opens the letter, he laughs hysterically, which means there's something the Caesar didn't expect. As she gives him the symbol, all the knights start murmuring amongst themselves about Cheryl being interested in Babel first and now Joshua. Joshua can't seem to turn her down, as it would ruin his reputation as being generous. He takes the symbol from her, and the Duke orders them to depart. At the Great Cultica Palace, the Emperor is enraged that Joshua rejected his request to join the Imperial Palace. Joshua says in his letter that he wants to follow his emperor and the laws of his empire. The Emperor seems to have been looking forward to Joshua's making it to the Imperial Knight Order with his own strength. They reach the Agnes family's private mansion in Accardi. Cain thinks nothing has changed about the place since he spent his entire childhood there. The mansion was a place that Cain described as serene, where they could train in peace, without anyone's judgment. Joshua says he wants to leave for a while and asks Cain to look after his mother. Joshua goes to the capital Accardi's downtown area and, as he encounters him, tells him that he has come to find a red coin buried deep in the rough river.
That's it for today. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.